everybody, it's David from Talking Technology. Before we start today's podcast, we wanted to ask a favour. If you enjoy Talking Technology or find the content helpful, we'd absolutely love if you'd give us a rating on your favourite podcast app or share the podcast with a friend. You can leave ratings on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and other apps too, and it really helps others to discover the podcast. Thanks as always for listening and for your ongoing support. Alright, now we can roll that intro. American voiceover guy, it's over to you.
Welcome to Talking Technology with VI Labs. At VI Labs, we believe technology is the single greatest enabler for people with sight loss and all disabilities. If you're looking for the latest news and conversation on tech from a more accessible perspective, you've come to the right place.
Yes, indeed, you have. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Talking Technology with VI Labs, episode number 72. We are at the 3rd of December, 2024. Can you believe it? We are in December already. We'll be building snowmen before we know it. Maybe not. We will have to wait and see. But I hope you're keeping well. Have you recovered from the craziness that was the election weekend? There was so much going on last weekend. We had a general election on Friday that also happened to be Black Friday. And then obviously we had Cyber Monday, and then there was all the counting for the election. There was so much going on. It really was a busy time. But now things are starting to settle down, and hopefully you will be able to enjoy a cool, calm, relaxing podcast with us for the next hour or so. And we hope you'll enjoy it over the next hour or so. We have a great show coming up today. We'll be talking to the team from Blindshell. You'll have heard in Talking Technology News in one of our recent episodes that the new Blindshell Classic 3 has been released. It's got support for a new AI assistant called Luna. It now supports third-party apps, and we'll be talking about all that and more with Filip and Lukáš from Blindshell in just a few minutes as well. So really looking forward to that. And we've of course got tech news coming up later on as well. In fact, there is I shouldn't spoil tech news, but there is a whole new screen reader on the block. We'll be telling you all about that in tech news later on in the show as well. So do stick around. And of course, remember, this is not our podcast. This is your podcast. So we do, as always, want you to get in touch with us and join the conversation. And as always, if you do want to join the conversation, there are a number of ways to do so. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note if you want to share your thoughts on some of the tech news that we discussed, maybe some of the other topics that we've chatted about. Maybe you'll be sending a voice note from your Blindshell Classic 3 or 2. Who knows? Maybe you'll be doing it from the 2. You can send that to us. It's 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. Or if you would prefer to do things the good old-fashioned way, you can send us an email to content@vi.ie. That's content@vi.ie. And hey, you can do that on a Classic 3 or Classic 2 as well. You can do it on a whole range of devices, laptops, phones. You can even probably send an email from your TV these days. There's so many ways to get in touch with us, and we really hope you do. So content@vi.ie or 086 199 0011. Right, let's get down to business, and I am joined as always by Mr. Joe Lonigan of Kilkenny. Joe, how are things?
Hi David, I'm all good.
Brilliant stuff. You're at home today, Joe. You were just doing you're just fresh out of doing a course, I believe.
Yeah, we were doing a kitchen webinar this morning, which is smart kitchen appliances, how to use them, and where to get them, and all the information you need on that subject.
Super stuff. Yeah, it's always good. We've of course covered the smart kitchen and stuff like that before, but it's always good to check out some of the courses and stuff like that that's happening from Vision Ireland, because there's all sorts going on all the time. So you can check that out on the events page of the Vision Ireland website for all of the latest. But Joe, are you getting into the Christmas season?
Yeah, I am. The kids are starting to open their advent calendars, and the pesky elf is around, so
happy days.
Think of all sorts to do with him. And I noticed that the Tactile Times, who contacted last year, have asked us again to share their brilliant advent calendar, an accessible advent calendar, which you can check out on games.tactiletimes.org. Or if you Google games at tactiletimes.org, you'll also find it. So they have other games on their website as well, word games and stuff like that. But the advent calendar is front and center now at the moment, and you can click on each day or tap on each day and open the door, and it will play a not so funny joke, kind of a Christmas cracker joke or some sort of a surprise. So check that out.
You didn't find the jokes funny anyway, Joe?
Well, the first one wasn't funny, but it was my typical Christmas cracker joke, so I'll give them a lot of credit for making it accessible. But their challenge before the 21 days that are left are up is to make me laugh. So we'll keep him on that one. He'll have to improve on tomorrow's joke, but that way. But I'm going to check it out and keep in with it.
Very good, very good. Do you know what? You have high standards, Joe. It must be said. You're a hard man to make laugh, but there you go.
I want a good dad joke or something, just to, seeing as I'm a dad now, I want a couple of good dad jokes in the mix before the end of the 21 days. Maybe it's not all jokes, though. I'm going to keep opening doors to see what it's all about.
Absolutely. There you go. So games.tactiletimes.org if you want to find out more about that. Really cool to have an accessible advent calendar. And Christmas is, of course, the perfect time. I always find that Christmas is the one time of year when I take a bit of time off work and stuff like that to actually play with a few games. So it's always good. We'll probably talk a little bit more about games and movies and stuff like that in our Christmas special, which is coming up in 2 weeks' time. So do stick around and subscribe for that. But main topic of choice this week, Joe, is the new Blindshell Classic 3. Are you a fan of the Blindshell phones?
Yeah, I actually like them. I know I'm an iPhone user, but not everybody's a touchscreen fan. Sometimes touchscreens can be too much of a learning curve for some people, and they prefer to stick with their button or tactile phones. And the Blindshell is a good option for people that like to have a smartphone, but also like to have your classic numeric keypad on a phone. So I am a fan, and I hope they keep improving it because I like this update.
Absolutely. I've actually got one here, the new Blindshell Classic 3. It feels the exact same pretty much as the Classic 2. It's got the same kind of design, same raised buttons and so on, but the features are inside. I'll actually have a flick through the menu here so you can hear. Hang on.
2:37 p.m.
2:37 p.m. So let's just
call one of
pop
2:37 p.m.
And I will flick down through the menu so you can have an idea of actually what's in here.
Call
so
1 of 8.
A lot of the stuff you'll recognize if you've ever used a Classic 2. This is a button phone, obviously, but it has tactile raised buttons, so I can just arrow up and down.
Messages. 2 contacts. 3 of 8. Tandem. 4 of 8.
Tandem, that's a new feature. We'll talk to the guys about that in just a second.
Applications. 5 of 8.
Applications. There's now new third-party apps, which is always pretty cool.
Settings. 6 of 8.
Obviously, the most exciting app is, of course, the settings, because that's where you can change the ringtones.
Manual. 7 of 8.
Manual is there as well.
Turn off the phone. 8
and
of 8.
Hey, sometimes you do need to turn off the phone. And I guess one of the biggest ones this time around, though, the biggest upgrade to this compared to the Classic 2 is you can now install the third-party apps. So if I come up here to applications.
Manual. Setting. Applications.
And go
5
in
of
there.
8. Internet browser. 1
so you
of
have
8.
all the good old ones here.
Tools. Communication. Media. 4 of 8.
We have there's a podcast player in the media section. And guess what podcast I'm subscribed to, Joe?
I'd be guessing it's Talking Technology with VI Labs.
I'm glad you didn't say Double Tap, but there you go. No, yes, it is Talking Technology, and I will subscribe to Double Tap as well. That is a great podcast too. But yes, I am currently subscribed to our podcast, the greatest podcast, of course. But the cool feature with the Classic 3 is the third-party app support. So if I go down here,
5 Vision Aid, third-party apps.
There's
7
a
of
new
8.
third-party apps section, so I can come in here.
1 of 2.
And there's Amazon Alexa.
Borrow Box Library.
And there's
2
Borrow
of 2.
Box. But I've been able to get apps going on this like RTE. I've got the journal on it as well. Some really cool stuff. And not all apps are supported, unfortunately, which is a shame. I know there's been some apps that just do not work. It will tell you that it can't install them. But hopefully that will evolve in time and stuff. But it's a really good phone, much snappier than the Classic 2 was. And it also has its other, I guess, big shiny new feature is a new AI assistant called Luna. So Luna is pretty good. You can just hold the side button. Tell me how charged the battery is. Give it a second.
Luna. To charge your phone battery, connect the charger to a power source and plug the charging cable into your phone.
That wasn't
Make
what I asked.
sure to use the correct charger that is compatible with your device. Once connected.
How charged is your battery?
Luna. The battery is currently at 42% charge and is discharging.
There you go. So, and it gives you a nice little bing at the end to let you know then that it has stopped talking as well. So Luna is new, getting new features and updates as well, which is really cool. But it's an interesting little phone, Joe, it must be said, isn't it?
No, I like it. I think the introduction of a new smart assistant called Luna, that's definitely an interesting feature. It's a bit more of an expansion on the previous option where you could ask the phone a couple of basic questions, but at least this one is open to expansion as well, and it's going to get more intelligent in the future. So I think Luna, yeah, I like it. It was a good, interesting name, a nice short word, easy to say. So I think it's quite a good feature. I like it. Definitely for a tactile smartphone, it's definitely a great feature. And the fact that they opened it up to having access to all those other apps that you mentioned, like the Journal and RTE and the World's Your Oyster, really, Sky News or whatever you want on it. So as long as them apps are generally made well, the phone will be able to access them and read most of the buttons on them. But Blindshell do say a disclaimer that they're not responsible for the apps outside of their sphere, if you know what I mean. But
yeah,
I think the option to download them is great.
Absolutely. I think it's one of these things. It's great to have almost a fully tactile smartphone, if you will. And as I say, it isn't it isn't perfect. I know there are some apps that it just outright won't install yet. But I think it is definitely a fantastic little smartphone for people who are blind or partially sighted and just don't need a full touchscreen phone, which is great, isn't it?
Exactly. I remember I used to have a Nokia N82 before I moved over to the iPhone. I loved that phone. I just loved the basics of it, and keypad and having that. Still, I even look as old as that phone was. I had access to email and I had basic access to internet and check scores on it and all that kind of stuff. And this is the best. This is probably Blindshell is probably one of the best phones since that, as tactile phones go. So look, since the disappearing or I suppose the retirement of talks on Symbian phones, or the retirement of Symbian phones themselves, this was part of the market that this is really needed. Like Blindshell fills that gap, and I think it's a big. It's a minority market, but it's actually a big market at the same time, and then people need this type of phone.
Absolutely. And on that note, we caught up last week with the team from Blindshell. Filip and Lukáš joined me to chat all about how Blindshell Classic 3 came around, their plans for the future, and what this means for the Classic 2, which interestingly is remaining on the market. So there was a lot to discuss, and here's what happened when I caught up with Filip and Lukáš earlier last week. So joining me now on Talking Technology, I'm delighted to be joined by Filip, who is a sales manager at Blindshell, and Lukáš, who is leading one of the development teams over there. So Filip, I'll start with yourself. Welcome to Talking Technology. Blindshell Classic 3, it's out. How have things been the last couple of weeks for you guys at Blindshell?
Hello, David. Thanks for invitation. Well, yeah, it's been pretty busy so far, I have to say. We are just 3 or 4 weeks since the launch of the Blindshell Classic 3, our newborn baby in Blindshell, and so far so good. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. And Lukáš, are you absolutely exhausted?
I think that's good word for how we feel, because we did a lot of work for the past months in the development team, and we are still continuing to improve the stuff based on the feedback we are receiving.
Brilliant stuff. And we'll talk more about that and what's to come in a minute. But Filip, I'll come to yourself on this one. I guess, many of the people who listen to this podcast will have heard us before talking about Blindshell Classic 2. They may even have a Blindshell Classic 2, be using a Classic 2. What was the deciding factor in doing that upgrade to a Classic 3? When did you guys start working on Classic 3?
Well, we started at the beginning, early this year, the beginning of this year. And, we've been very active in the community. We've been listening to our business partners, and we've been collecting the feedback that the market, what the market is asking us for. And at some point, we got into a point where we found out that we have enough suggestions, enough tips how to improve our product. And I think that was the turning point, the deciding point to say, hey guys, let's make a new model.
Brilliant stuff. And do you want to give us a rundown of what's new with the Classic 3 compared to Classic 2?
Yeah, sure. I can say we kept all the good from the Classic 2, which is the hardware part. That's where we remain. 95% of the hardware is the same. So what we changed is the colors, but we are keeping the same concept of having 2 color variants. With one of them is a dark one, and the other one is the lighter one, which brings more contrast. So for the sighted and visually impaired, I think it's a better solution, this light version. So instead of the black color, we are now using a dark navy blue. Instead of the red one, we are now using a golden sandy beige color. We've improved the surface of the device, so when you first got it into your hands, you feel it's a little bit softer, a little bit more gummy. The grip, overall is much more pleasant. We've added the user storage capacity. We've added RAM memory, which makes the phone running faster and smoother without any delays and latencies. We are now using the dedicated light sensor, giving us better results on the light and darkness. We've improved the home screen and added the progress bar, which is showing you the current position on the menu where you currently are. We've also added a couple of features to the left action button, such as copy paste function, or you can do the quick settings of the voice output, or the display can be even switched off completely. So there are many many minor improvements and changes like that, but of course this is not enough to create the new version. So the main differences are inside. There are new features, new opportunities, new apps. So let's talk about these main game changers that are really making the big difference between the Classic 3 and Classic 2. So first of all, it's an application which is called Tandem. And it's a communication platform. It's an app which was developed by Lukáš and his team here in Prague. And it consists of 2 main things. First of all, it's an instant messaging app, quite similar to WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger and stuff like that. But the difference between Tandem and all of these is that Tandem is fully integrated into the Blindshell Classic 3 environment. So the design of the app looks completely the same as, for example, if you are sending a standard text messages, or if you are browsing up and down the menu, you still have just the white text on a black background, or of course you can switch to a different color scheme. But you actually have no idea that you are actually using a third-party application, which is great. The app is super simple, super accessible, and fully integrated into our operation system. And the Tandem app is, of course, available also for smartphones, so you can download it from the App Store or Google Play Store. And so we have a communication platform between the Classic 3 and the smartphone. And the benefit is that both sides of this communication, Classic 3 user and the smartphone user, they are both working in their comfortable and natural environment. Because on the smartphone, we have the Tandem acts like a standard third-party application, which is, of course, fully accessible. So even for blind people, it's a very super simple tool for communication. That's one part of Tandem. But I think the essential, even more important part of the Tandem is a remote control session. Remote control session can be established between the Classic 3 and the smartphone, or between two Classic 3 phones. And what it does, that you can have your Classic 3 phone being controlled remotely from a smartphone, from another Blindshell Classic 3 phone. So if you have a customer who needs assistance, who got into trouble, doesn't know how to do some kind of basically any action, write a message or connect to a different Wi-Fi or set up a contact or whatever, he or she can just ask his relatives, his family, his friends, or a customer service person to assist him remotely. So this is a great tool, which is one of the exclusive features of the Classic 3, making the big difference between the 3 and 2.
Brilliant stuff. It's a really interesting feature, and I've used the Tandem app. And I must give some credit to yourself and the team, Lukáš, as well, because the voice note quality is really good. It's a little thing, but you got it right. So fair play to you on that as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, let's move to the other things that are making the big difference. Recently all the world have been talking about AI. We have AI here, AI there, AI everywhere. So we try to keep up with the progress, with the technological progress, and we've also implemented AI assistant into the Blindshell Classic 3. We call it Luna. Luna, it's your virtual AI assistant, and basically it's a pretty much upgraded voice control feature from the Blindshell Classic 2. So with Luna, you can not just launch applications, dictate text, or making a call like it has been on the Classic 2, but you can ask basically any general questions. You can ask about what's the capital city, what's the highest mountain. You can ask Luna to recommend you a recipe, how to cook a dinner, basically whatever. It will give you answers on any information which are static, meaning not changing during the time. So it will not give you answers on questions such as what is the weather or when the bus is coming, because these are sort of dynamic questions. And what happens if you ask this kind of a question? Luna will revert you to the web browser with the question already filled in, so you don't have to type it. And you will just search for the results on the browser. And so that's one part of Luna. And Luna is also integrated with our application. So while on the Classic 2, you could only launch applications, now on the Classic 3 with Luna, you can also make actions within the app. So, for example, you can set your alarm clock, or you can create an event and put it into your calendar without without opening the app. So you just ask Luna to set your alarm clock. Tell her, well, hey Luna, I want to set an alarm clock on 8 a.m. every day, and it's there. So you don't have to open the app at all.
Brilliant stuff. And that's going to make life a whole lot easier for a lot of people and make things a lot quicker. I do want to ask you here, Lukáš, you're using, my understanding is you're using the GPT API under the hood here. What was it that made you guys decide to go with GPT, obviously from OpenAI, as opposed to some of the other alternatives that we've seen? Did you find it different in any ways, or what's it been like to work with?
Yes, that's right. We are using GPT from OpenAI. That's not a secret. And we decided to use the ChatGPT model because we perceive it as it's good and suitable for our purpose that we want to interact with Blindshell Classic 3 function. So it was actually the best model for us. And I think that it's also the advantage that people are familiar nowadays how ChatGPT works, at least a little bit. They know what to expect. So and as I said, it's like for us, it was the best option to integrate it with the Blindshell functions.
Brilliant stuff. And Filip, I guess what's next for Luna? I guess specifically because I know this is going to be a real selling factor, I think, for Classic 3. And we'll talk about one of the other major upgrades that Classic 3 has in a minute in the form of third-party apps. But what's next for Luna specifically?
This is a good question. And here, I think we are going to, again, be collecting feedbacks and suggestions from the market, because we are also interested what kind of questions, what kind of information our customers are going to search and ask for Luna. So this will give us a direction for the further development. Maybe Lukáš can add something to this point.
Yes, exactly. Actually, today Luna can perform some basic action with the phone, like making a phone call, opening apps, and also interacting with some of the apps like Alarm or Notes or the Calendar app. So you can create the event. But we are at the beginning regarding the phone interaction, because there is a big potential to integrate more Luna into Blindshell or into Blindshell core functions or the other apps. So we will be collecting feedback from our customers and partners, of course, and we will improve Luna in the following months, definitely.
Brilliant stuff. And I guess the other big feature and the big selling factor then for Classic 3, Filip, is the integration of third-party apps. And you've got a touch screen now for the first time. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, exactly. We changed our approach and philosophy towards the third-party applications here with the Classic 3. I think we've been a little bit pushed by the market, by the suggestions and feedback again. We've been always very hesitant and careful when it comes to the third-party applications. We always wanted to make sure that everything which is implemented into the phone is fully accessible and fully working. But the time has changed, and we have to react on what the market wants. So we now, with the Classic 3, we give the customers the opportunity to download and install third-party applications by themselves. Of course, we cannot guarantee that all the apps are going to work, are going to be compatible. Not all of them are accessible. But we are giving the opportunity for them to test it, whether it will be working with the phone fine or not. Unfortunately, here we have to wash our hands and tell the customers that there is a difference between our native applications that are integrated into the Blindshell environment and the third-party applications where we have no control over these. So if there is an app which is not compatible with our phone, unfortunately, there is nothing we can do about it. But we are giving the opportunity, and I believe there will be plenty of apps that will be working with the phone without any troubles.
Brilliant stuff. And it's been interesting. I've been able to get a few apps working on it. Particularly, I've got the RTE News, that's from our national broadcaster. I've got that app working on it. And similarly, I've got other Irish news apps, which has been really cool because you weren't really able to do that to the same degree on Classic 2, which is interesting. But I guess the another question then I'd ask on that, Filip, is what does this mean for, I guess, the development of those native apps? Are there still going to be new native apps added to the Blindshell catalog over time, or how does that look going forward?
I think I'll leave this to Lukáš. I think he has much more overview and information about these future plans about our native apps.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing why we just allowed to download any third-party app on Blindshell Classic 3 was, as Filip said, that there was a high demand on some apps and to give this ability to our users. But also maintaining some of the apps, some of the third-party apps on Classic 2 was also quite demanding on our development team, and we also want to focus more on our apps because they are developed by us and they are fully accessible and fully integrated into the Blindshell system. So that's something we want to focus more on. And I think that today we have over 50 apps in our Blindshell catalog that were developed by us and are fully accessible and controlled by us, so we can make some enhancement or fix the bugs that are reported. So it's definitely the better way, and we always recommend to use these apps because we can say that they are accessible and they should work without any issues.
Brilliant stuff. And I guess something I noticed was that currently, and I guess this is one of the things that, you know, is the case with just a day one launch of a device. Not all of the apps currently from the Classic 2 are part of the Classic 3 catalog, but you're adding apps quickly. That there was a number of apps added last week, for example. So what's the plan there? Are you eventually going to have the full range of apps from Classic 2 over on Classic 3 as well? Or how does that look like, and what's the timelines on that, or do you know?
Yeah, actually we are working on that, and I think soon that all the apps that were available on Classic 2 will be also available through the third-party app item in Classic 3. And of course there will be much more applications because now users can search for any third-party app. So they can also search for these apps that were available on Classic 2.
Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, maybe I'll add just a note. You can see from all of these that Lukáš is mentioning that Classic 3 is a really live product. It is and it will be continuously improved, and so it means that if you purchase the Classic 3 today, you will have a completely different product in a month or in 2 months. So it's been under development all the time, and it's going to be pretty much improved in the very, very shortly.
Brilliant stuff. And I guess then, what does this mean for Classic 2? Classic 2 is remaining on sale. It's remaining on sale for the same price. Are you continuing development on Classic 2 in any ways, or is focus now going to be primarily on Classic 3? What was the decision like to keep Classic 2 on the market?
Yeah, I think you already answered your question. Both is correct. Classic 2 remains on the market. We will be maintaining this product, of course, and adding a few more features into this. But of course, the main focus will be put on the new product, on the high-end product, on the best product, which is the Blindshell Classic 3. The reason why we are keeping the Classic 2 alive is that, of course, not everybody is interested in having all the applications in the world in the phone. not everybody is using AI assistant and is fond of using the latest technology. So we are keeping the Classic 2 alive for these users who wants to have a good product, solid product with a solid hardware, but doesn't really have to have the latest technology.
Brilliant stuff. And I guess the final question I'd ask then is, what are you guys most excited about for the future? Where do you see, Classic 3 in the next couple of months and years? What are you excited for?
Well, as we are all cited in Blindshell, and we have to ask the community. We have to ask our customers and business partners. So these are the people who are giving us the direction where to go, if to turn left or right. So, as I always say, you cannot build a good car if you are not a driver. So we are. This is a question on you guys. Tell us where we should go.
Brilliant stuff. And how can people contact Blindshell, find out more about Blindshell? Where can people get all those details?
Everything is available on our website, blindshell.com. Or if they have any specific questions, feel free to contact us at info@blindshell.com.
Brilliant stuff. Filip, Lukáš, thank you so much for joining me on Talking Technology. Congratulations on the release of Classic 3. And I look forward to seeing how the device evolves in the future. It's an exciting time ahead by the sounds of things, for sure.
Thank you very much, David. Greetings from Prague.
And there you have it. It really is a fascinating little device. I think it is good to hear that they are going to continue development. I think one of the standouts for me is they're making steady improvements. Even yesterday, as we record this, there was a new update for the Blindshell Classic 3, and that got the Alexa app working. There are still a number of apps that aren't working fully just yet, but hopefully that will change in time. But it is good to see these updates rolling out, Joe, and they seem to have a good sense of direction and are willing to listen, which is important, isn't it?
That's massively important. He said something vital there at the end. They're all cited in that company that developed the phone, and they're willing to listen to our feedback on what we want in the phone. So they're welcome to feedback. So if anybody has feedback for them, or any app that you really like is not working for you, feel free to email them at Blindshell, and I'm sure they'll make a big effort on trying to get things going for you, in the long run. Things like this cannot be fixed immediately, but they could put it on their list and say, there's lots of blind people getting use out of this. We will, try and make things work. So I think they're a very proactive company, and I like the way they're doing things. And the Luna feature is very interesting. The fact they're using GPT offering, and I expect that to get better too in the future.
Absolutely, yeah. It is one of these things that I do definitely like the phone. You've got to admit, they have built something really incredible, especially when you consider the fact that they're all cited at the company. Usually, you really do need blind people to be involved in these kind of projects to have a good deal of success. But they've built a really quality product and obviously are listening, which is brilliant stuff. But there you have it. If you have got a Blindshell Classic 3 or a Classic 2, we'd love to hear your thoughts on it, how you find it, or what your experiences are with Classic 3 versus things like a smartphone, and why you decide to use the device. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note. You just send that to 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. And you can, of course, send that from a Blindshell Classic 2 or 3 as well, if you so wish. But now, it's Talking Technology News time.
This is Talking Technology News.
So, with your latest Talking Technology News, I'm Daniel Dunn. Dublin student Maura Moore-McCune has had great success at the national finals of SciFest with her assistive app, VIP Mod. We've talked about VIP Mod before in our Tech on Tap newsletter, but basically the app, which is still in development, uses machine vision technology to detect moving objects and help blind or partially sighted people avoid them. Maura, who is still in secondary school, has won 2 major awards at the event, including the overall STEM Champion Award and the Boston Scientific Medical Devices Grand Award. This is an incredible achievement and shows the future is absolutely bright. Maura will now go on to represent Ireland at the SciFest European Finals, where we're sure she will do fantastic. Congratulations, Maura, from all of us on the Talking Technology podcast team. The SciFest STEM champion runner-up this year also had a really cool project. Lily Cahill was investigating if those who had imaginary friends as kids developed better coping skills when they were teenagers. There are all sorts of fascinating projects being worked on by Irish students, and it's always great to see. In more good news, Harmony OS from Huawei is getting a screen reader. Specifically, the screen reader has been added to the public beta of Harmony OS Next, which is Huawei's plan to replace Android on its devices. Harmony OS had traditionally been built on top of Android, but Harmony OS, which was revealed in October, will eventually replace Android completely on Huawei devices. We don't know yet what devices will get the screen reader or how similar it is to the likes of TalkBack, Commentary or VoiceOver, but a whole new screen reader is definitely very exciting. The public beta is available on a number of devices including the Purus 70 series, the Mate 60 series, Pocket 2, Mate X5, MatePad Pro 13.2, and Mate Pro 11 2024. Other devices will surely come along in time. It's good to see accessibility being considered with a change like this, and hopefully it might mean another accessible platform option entering the space. A reminder that betas are often buggy and shouldn't be used on main devices. While this news is exciting, it's generally good to wait for public releases of the software before diving in. What devices do you wish had a screen reader? Let us know with a WhatsApp voice note. And finally, for now, rumours suggest that Samsung are finally planning to start moving their Android 15 update into beta after delaying it by a number of months. 9to5 Google report that leaks say that beta will roll out in the first week of December, that's this week, and then there will be a 2-month testing period before a public rollout in February of 2025. Android 15 brings some accessibility improvements, including more detailed image descriptions for TalkBack users, which will be a welcome addition when it rolls out. Apple are also expected to bring Apple Intelligence to Ireland this month, and Blindshell released an update for all their devices in the Classic line yesterday. So it's a busy month for software updates, and it looks like we'll continue to see improvements to software as we head into 2025. But that's it for now. If you like what we do with Talking Technology News or the Talking Technology podcast in general, why not leave us a review on your podcast app of choice? This really helps the podcast, so we'd really appreciate it. For now, it's back to you, David.
Thanks, Daniel. Yes, do absolutely leave us those ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all of those different places. They really do help more people find out about the podcast, which is always brilliant. So thank you so much for that. Did you have an imaginary friend growing up, Daniel?
I still do.
There you go. See, and yeah, it's a fascinating idea. And I know we'll talk about Maura's app in a minute. But I did also have an imaginary friend growing up, and I would love to know. Does that kind of help kids? I would imagine that it would help kids be creative. But I do find it a fascinating idea, though.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear about how that that particular study goes. And it's great to see. It's great to see these awards come for the teenagers who are who are working so hard on little projects, and it's great to see, some fruition and recognition coming for them.
Absolutely. And on that note, Maura Moore-McCune, they're doing absolutely fantastic work as always with VipMod, her app that she's been working on to help find and detect moving objects using machine vision. Really cool tech. And something like this could have real benefits in the future, Joe, couldn't it?
It could, of course, yeah. I'd like to congratulate Maura as well, actually. It's amazing for someone that hasn't even done leaving cert yet to get to this level. That's her second award, by the way. Yeah, that technology, recognizing objects and projects, it definitely has massive potential. It's like any of those I suppose technology at the moment, it's all veering towards that kind of a sphere. So Maura, someone from Ireland to get in there as well. I know Boston Scientific are sponsoring that, some of the Sci-Fest things. That's a company, a big employer up near me here in Clonmel. And if she gets in with like the Boston Scientific and some developer behind her kind of technologies, you never know where it might end up, David.
It's very true, and absolutely exciting stuff. And congratulations, as always, Maura, you're continuing to absolutely hit it out of the park there. So very, very well done on that. A whole new screen reader from Huawei, an interesting one for sure. They had been using Android on most of their devices traditionally. Daniel, you're an Android fan. Those Huawei devices, they're really popular, but this is a new focus on accessibility for them in some ways, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah. There was a big fallout between, I suppose, Huawei and Google a few years back, and Huawei have said, look, that's it, we're going to develop our own operating system, and I suppose they've been chipping away at that block in the background, and I'd like to have this new Harmony OS coming along soon, and then to see, I suppose they have the rear view mirror in a sense that they're looking at what Apple and Android, I suppose, have done in the accessibility sphere over the last 10, 15 years and how it has developed. So they can really cherry pick all these ideas and put them in. And, screen reader obviously is just another one of those things, for accessibility that nearly is expected now from consumers. So they'll have good knowledge of what works and what doesn't work from the current big two at the moment. So to develop their own, Huawei, they're a clever company. I have a feeling they're going to come out with something that'll rival Android and Apple iOS, very closely. I don't think it'll be something that'll be just thrown together,
You'd be hoping so in some regards. Like, my attitude with all of this is always that competition is good. I'm obviously, I use VoiceOver, but I think, once you start getting to a point where you have, blind loyalty, pardon the pun, to one specific device, be that iOS or Android, I think that is where you have a problem. And if something came along where it really did move the needle in some way, shape or form, I think you have to consider it then, and I think you've got to hand it to Huawei. I think they are ones that are going to certainly give it a try. Whether they will succeed or not is hard to say. They've got a lot of catching up to do, in the sense that, as you said, Daniel, Google have been at this and Apple have been at this for 15 years at this point. It's not impossible.
But I suppose it's a double-edged thing, David. Like, while Google and Apple have been at it for a few years, things that didn't work for those companies are out on the table. There's a lot less for Huawei to discover, only for it to innovate. So I guess, a lot of the hard work is done for them if they can just perfect Android to a certain extent in their own in their own kind of way. I think they're a very popular, well-known brand. So they're in a great position to, become a third big player in the smartphone, in the mobile operating system sphere. So you'd be interested to see that tablets will start coming with Harmony OS next. And where else going to go? Will we eventually see some sort of laptop computer coming with?
Yeah.
Because Huawei, I don't know if we probably know them well here in Ireland and UK from making mobile phones and a few tablets, but they actually make so much more gear.
That's crazy.
They are massive. Even recently, a couple of months back, I got fiber broadband installed here, and the little converter for the fiber optic cable back to the router is a Huawei piece. So
yeah,
they're in lots of stuff.
Yeah, smart TVs. I know they do smart watches as well. And if you could get these are devices that we need screen readers on. We do need screen readers on a lot of these devices. And I think it will be interesting. It's always good to have a new player in the space. Obviously, on the Android side, we do have a few options. Samsung have their own screen reader. There's also TalkBack, Commentary, or Jeshuo, as it's known in some parts of the world as well there. So it is, there are options, but more options is better, which is brilliant to see.
That's exactly it. And plus, Huawei will definitely have shed loads of money behind them. So they can afford to invest in this, and really plough the money into making this good. So I think from that point of view, it's exciting. It's going to be an exciting, to see what comes out in 2025 from Huawei and the lines of phones.
Absolutely. And Joe, Apple Intelligence obviously coming in December, or at least that's the claim. Are you excited for it? Are you kind of worn out of listening to Apple Intelligence news at this point? How are you kind of feeling about it?
No, I'm not worn out by it, David. I have a bit more resilience than that now. Come on. And I'm joking.
Fair enough.
I would, if I had an iPhone 16 or an iPhone 15, I'd be really excited, but I currently don't have one. I do plan on getting one sometime in the future. When I do get an iPhone that's capable of taking on Apple Intelligence, I will really look forward to it. I think I nearly returned the question back to you, David. You have an iPhone 15. How do you feel about Apple Intelligence?
So I installed yesterday the iOS 18.2 public beta, and it said in the release notes that it now has the support for English Ireland, English UK and stuff like that. So I was all excited. I installed the 18.2 public beta and it's still not working for me. It still says that, Apple Intelligence isn't available in your country or region. But what I will say is there is one kind of intelligence powered feature that I have got access to, and that is sorting of my mail inbox. So I use a variety of different mail apps for different projects. I use Outlook for work, but for my personal stuff, I use the bog standard mail app. And the new sorting of everything into categories in the new mail app, I find absolutely fantastic, actually.
That sounds good, because the mail app, or any of these mail apps, or Outlook, and they have been notoriously difficult to navigate for vision impaired and blind people over the last few years. I suppose they started off very simple and easy to use, but then as mail it has become more integrated in everything we do, it's become a little bit more complicated. So anything that makes mail easier, David, I am excited for that.
David, is there anything in it that you can say, mark my 10,418 unread mails as read?
Yeah, so not exactly, but
I think we're all
interestingly, absolutely. You say 10,000, I say 20, but it's one of these things, though, Daniel, is like, after I updated, so I now have, like, I get, all sorts of just, I get a lot of important emails too, mind you. But I get a whole lot of nonsense and promotional stuff, as everybody does. But now I just have a, like priority mailbox. And in that, it just shows really only the important stuff, if you will. So as of this point, like on my actual like mail notification, where before I had, as you said, something like 20,000 unread emails of just random newsletters, rubbish like that, I'm now at 640. So
that's good.
It's, it's tidying things up a bit.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So there
I
you
like
have
the
it.
idea of that.
Yeah, I am looking forward, though, I guess, to go back and answer your core question, Joe. I am looking forward to some of the Apple Intelligence features. How much I'll use it, I don't know. I'm skeptical, but optimistic, if that makes sense. Will kind of be where I'm at right now.
David, I think you'll find we may not use it that much, but the times we do use it, it's when we are amazed by it. Like, those... when you want to summarize a chat or something like that, a chat that could have had 100 pages in it, you want to summarize it and get a feeling for what people are actually talking about, or you want to rewrite something or get an idea. They're the times that when you're having a slow day, maybe they're the times that Apple Intelligence or Copilot or any of these other AI apps that we use are going to 3:26 p.m. are going to help us.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I am looking forward to all of that, but there you go. So on that note, if you do want to let us know your thoughts on Apple Intelligence, Maura's fantastic achievement, any of the stuff from Blindshell, we'd love to hear from you. You can send us a message on WhatsApp to 086 199 0011, or you can send us an email to content@vi.ie. But now... it's Quick Picks time.
It's time for VI Labs Quick Picks.
Indeed it is. And we're all getting ready for Christmas now. And Joe, you've got the Christmas shopping list to end all Christmas shopping lists. What's going on with our... what's going on in Santa's sleigh this year? What's happening?
Well, David, I'll go through quickly. Maybe 5 or 6 Christmas stocking fillers for under €200, we'll say. So we'll start off Ring video doorbells, or any of the Ring products, indoor cam or intercom even. Intercom is just one you don't have to use with your smartphone, but it will record as well. So any of the Ring products, you'll get most of them for under the €200 mark, unless you're going for the Pro versions. Nest video doorbell for the Google fans out there. Then we'll move on to things you can use with doorbells or any other devices. The Amazon smart speakers. So I'm recommending the Amazon ones because we can get the My VI Smart Hub on them, as well as almost any other skill you can think of, like Audible and TuneIn or Apple Music. You can even link your Apple Music to it as well as your Amazon Music. And so as you can, as you know yourself, smart speakers are one of the greatest inventions for blind people since I don't know, the Talk and Watch or something like that, David. It's everybody out there now seems to be getting a smart speaker. So
that's true.
If you're buying one for your friend or a family member, I'd go the Amazon route myself, even though the others are great too. Then I suppose we'll stay on. I'll move on to the Apple stuff there now. I suppose small products that would really some people really love. Maybe AirPods. You can get some of the AirPods for under €200. So that the original ones, as in the newer version of the original ones, if you know what I mean. The AirPods. The newer generation. What generation are we on now? Probably 4 at this stage.
Yeah, we have the 4, the standard, and I think the second generation of the Pros then.
Yeah, second generation of Pros, but they're over 200. You're probably talking 260, 280 for those Pros, but about 160, 180 for the 4th generation AirPod standards. AirPod standards are an excellent device. Really good sound, and you're getting almost everything you're getting out of Pros, minus 1 or 2 features. Then we move on to AirTags. Any of you here suffer from losing important products, maybe your wallet or
all the
remote
time,
controls.
all the time, Joe.
All the time, yeah. So if you've tendencies to forget where you leave stuff, or many of us that have vision impaired or blind, leave things down, can't find where we left them, AirTag is your solution to that problem. Also can put them into your airport luggage if you're going away and you're paranoid that your bag is going to go missing on you. At least you can track it down if it goes missing out there in Lanzarote if you're going over there for Christmas. Then if you don't know what to get the Apple fan in your life, why don't you buy them an Apple, some Apple credit or an Apple card
gift
credit, so that you can purchase things on the Apple Store, or you can even spend it in the App Store, for example, and pay for apps or pay for your monthly subscriptions with it. So that's not a good option, David.
Absolutely. I remember getting those back when I was younger, and they were brilliant because you could get different apps. I remember getting the game of the do you remember the game show The Cube back in the day, Joe? And it cost $1.99, but I got it with an Apple gift card. So there you go.
Brilliant. And you used to be able to purchase Apple gift cards in shops. Hopefully you still can, but you can purchase them on the App Store or off the Apple website. So, and the last thing I'll mention is fans of TV or TV streaming devices. There's 3 or 4 different ones out there that are very accessible. We'll start off with the Amazon Fire Stick. There's 4K versions, 3 or 4 different types of the Fire Stick. But whichever one you like, go on their website and have a browse with the Fire Stick. They all work the same. They have Amazon Alexa remote, so you can use the remote and speak to the TV and ask it to play things off Netflix or Amazon Prime, Apple TV. Any of those apps will download onto it. Same with the Google Streamer. That has a talkback screen reader on it. They have a new streamer device. It's approximately €100. And then the one I love, the Apple TV 4K. So this one retails from something like €180 up to €260 for the Apple 4K TV. So there's a few options for you, David, for Christmas ideas for yourself or anybody else is listening. And I'm sure anybody who's into tech would love something like that.
Absolutely. And if people do have other suggestions as well, send them in to us. We'd love to include some suggestions in our Christmas special in 2 weeks' time as well. But yeah, some great stuff there. And I'm sure Santa is going to have many AirPods and Apple TVs and all sorts of smart speakers on his sleigh this year, as always, Joe. So thank you so much for giving us some information on all of those. But hey, that is about our lot for this week and this week's Talking Technology podcast, episode number 72. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've absolutely loved having you. And remember, if you do want to get more technology news from Vision Ireland, or you want to subscribe to our technology newsletter, that's Tech on Tap, you can do so by just searching Labs Newsletter Sign Up Vision Ireland on the Vision Ireland website. But for now, that is us. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time when hopefully we'll have an appearance from Santa Claus. I hope he makes an appearance this year in our Christmas special. But we will see you then for another episode of Talking Technology with VI Labs. In the meantime, stay safe. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Talking Technology podcast with VI Labs. If you'd like to support our show, please visit vi.ie/donate. Talking Technology is proudly sponsored by IA Labs, the market leader in digital accessibility services. IA Labs, digital inclusion, your legal obligation.